What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Odd Shop. We appreciate you being here. First and foremost, thank you. Myself, Ben Rasa, are going to be here for the next hour or so. We're going to look at everything across the board. We're going to look at the OddsShopper premium tool. We're going to look at what these guys, meaning Lofty and Rasa, and you, the community, did or maybe failed to do last night. Mike's in the house producing, so you know we're all here with you today for the next little bit. Just trying to make some money, Ben. That's all we're trying to do, right? Just trying to make some money and avoid a sweat at the Masters. If I can just have two things today, it would be that, although I don't think I'm going to get both.
Can't have everything. Yeah, I don't have a Masters sweat in the bad way. Not the Masters that I wanted, but you know what? The beauty of this, there's a million other things on the board. There's a million other ways to attack the slate. We're going to have a little Friday action here. Find some winners, have some fun, hang out with our favorite community here at the Odd Shop.
Yeah, you know, the NBA, how'd you guys do last night? Just over. I know you were smoking on the ice.
Yeah, I was happy with the Panthers.
On the Discord.
Things were fine. You know, the NBA, the Heat rolled, and I really did need that. Jimmy Butler did not get there. That was unfortunate. But for me personally, the Panthers were really where I wanted to be. And they got it done. It was 7-1 late in the third, and I have it on good authority. They ultimately held on.
Yeah. Look at that. So the community, did they do their part?
I don't believe so. But you know what? I'm going to give no one did their part. Yesterday was I was alone.
You were the lone wolf.
Yeah, I went lone wolf yesterday, and that happens sometimes.
Okay.
Jimmy Butler over 34.5 points, rebounds, assists. I am going to ride for the community here. I love that spot. I thought that was a fantastic pick. The blowout killed it, and there's nothing you can really do there. We have to live with that one. But yes,
we do.
I will say I did my part.
Yeah. Look, I had the bet. I had the bet in a parlay. I think that was part of actually the NBA parlay, maybe. And yeah, it was a very disappointing night for Jimmy Butler to end that way. Absolutely, man. You were not alone, by all means, not alone. So we've got the NBA is winding down. We're going to have to look at the tool and see what the OddsShopper premium tool says about the market for sure. It's going to be really difficult for the two of us, especially since we, outside of Linquist, of course, make up the majority of the OddsShopper golf channel, to simply ignore what's happening at Augusta. We cannot do that, right? Unless you'd like to.
We should do that. We should just.
Sam Bennett wasn't on your card, I know, from putting for dough.
No, you know what? It's easier for me. Like, frustrating weeks are when you feel like you're close, and you just don't get there. This is one, and it's not over. There's a lot of golf to be played, but on the macro view, this was just not the tournament that I predicted. The guys that I liked did not play well, and I think obviously it starts with Rory. So
sure.
When that happens, you kind of just have to accept it and say it was not my week. I was fortunate. I came in with some real momentum from Valero. I had a great Valero, and I had a terrible showing here. So there's still money to be made, though. I put out on Twitter my favorite matchup of the day. Like, there's going to be matchups. There's going to be live betting. The Masters is not over, even if your initial card, like mine, is in the absolute dumpster.
Absolutely not. And speaking of which, the weather's going to change if it hasn't already specifically. So I jumped in before the day, and look, he's even par through 12. So who knows what's going to happen as things crank up. But to your point, There were some live opportunities, and this was something that we put out on the Discord earlier in the day. Shane Lowry top 10 live before the day started because the expectation is that there's going to be a shit show of weather. I'm going to hit you with this. Over under Monday afternoon. Is the Masters done by Monday at 3:30 Eastern?
I'm going to say yes, just because Augusta has so much technology, but it's going to get nasty. Tomorrow is not going to even remotely resemble what we've seen. There was already a delay. So it's going to get dicey, but I think they'll get most of the golf in, but don't expect things to look like they do now. The leaderboard is going to change a lot.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, man, we have some news that came down in the NBA. This is the final week, if you will, of the NBA. Last night was glorious as TikTok star Eytan Shander called the Cavs at plus 390. Did you even watch the OddsShopper shorts that Nathan puts together and puts up on your YouTube page? Do you even watch
some of them?
Shit?
I watched yours. I do what I can.
Suffered through it. Yeah, but you watch to make sure, like you watch with a red pen.
Yeah, QC. We call that quality control in these parts. But no, you must be feeling good. Like I said, it was a wacky, that Magic game. I was on the show with Lofty, and I know all our friends in chat were talking about this. Like all of a sudden, the Paulo and Fultz and all these guys get ruled out. That game was bouncing around all over the place. And that is just the nature of late season NBA. Now, tonight, we don't have any hockey. So I am going to have to finagle one of the other two sports. And I think we're going to be just fine trying to find some value in the baseball or NBA streets.
Absolutely. And by the way, I'm riding in case, I don't know, do you have anything live in the baseball world right now? Because I do. I have one that I'm riding right now. And
I do not.
I don't know if I'm going to get there.
What is it?
I have Hunter Green 8Ks. All right. That was an OddsShopper special over 7.5. And I got a great CLV. Thanks to the OddsShopper premium tool at like 4:35 in the morning as I was getting up for TV today, Ben. And then the second one is, you know what? The Phillies, I was willing to push this. So I went 7+ Ks, Reds win at plus 250. It's currently 1-0 in the bottom of the fourth. And Hunter Green has 4 Ks and he's on the mound pitching to Roger Clemens' kid. Oh my God, it's Roger Clemens.
What a time to be alive. Yeah, I didn't get into afternoon baseball. I will have a little baseball. I guess you call that a tease later in the show.
Nice.
But where do we begin? Because
I think
I was going to say, yesterday we didn't have many games. We had a couple disaster games. We've had some competitive spreads. We've got some teams that need wins in action. I think obviously the Dallas Mavericks are just a fascinating situation.
I don't start. Yep.
What in God's name are they doing now? The Thunder won last night, which they needed to. 2 nights ago, the Mavericks did take down, I believe it was Pelicans. No, it was the Kings. Excuse me. Definitely the Kings. And Luka almost threw a 3/4 court heave to cover that number. What are the Mavericks? I'm a little confused at what the Mavericks are doing now.
I have no idea, unless they're sabotaging to justify not paying Kyrie, and they didn't want to tell the world that they weren't going to pay Kyrie with regular season games left to go because they thought he would implode and walk away and, put out some shady Instagram post or something crazy. Like, who the hell knows? Right. So I don't know. He's a ticking time bomb. He's an implosion waiting to happen. To be fair, it's not like Luka Doncic is some beacon of stability either in the NBA. They're both all world talents, but they just can't put anything together. This team is an absolute disaster. Now, the only thing I'd say, Ben, is that it looks like we're going to be robbed of the drama of the Dallas Mavericks in the even play-in game at this point, because there's no Kyrie tonight.
But yet, they're sizable favorites still. So maybe we won't. Now, they don't control their own destiny. Let's be clear. But they still are 8-point favorites. They're at home against the Bulls. And that's just something that I thought was interesting to bring up. I will say, looking at OddsShopper right now, getting to the tool and seeing what we got, the Mavericks really, there's still a lot of uncertainty around them. I think they're off the board at a lot of places. I don't see a ton of Mavericks props anywhere right now.
Luka was up there, smashed at like a 13% XROI, but I just refreshed it. It was his rebounds. Okay. I just refreshed it, and it's since been off the board. So you're right. I don't see anything at all right now. But
there could be personnel changes again.
Yeah, and I think, well, actually, wait, Luka's on there. All right, so hold on a second. So we actually have a couple of interesting props for Luka. Why don't we start there, right? Because the market is telling us, and this is what the OddsShopper premium tool does. We won't hit you over the head with it by any means, but it's definitely worth your while. By the way, I see a play. Let me get on this play right now on BetMGM. Please. BetMGM right now is the place to be. Thanks for the, all I was doing was refreshing to get up to Luka Doncic. The Philadelphia 76ers first half money line is sitting at plus 310 right now on BetMGM. All right. So that is beating the market currently, Ben, to the tune of a little bit. No other book has it at 300. Every other book has it less than plus 300 right now. Let me tell you this. It's the same exact mentality that I applied last night to Cleveland. I think you can apply it to the Knicks. You can apply it to a couple of other teams that have clinched, that are looking to play some backup guys. You may not see Shake Milton or George Niang much at all in the playoffs. They know that. These guys, like, it's not just bench to lose a game. It's bench to play. Like, they have a legit bench, and I think they're going to be playing hard. And, yeah, Atlanta needs win if you look at it in the play-in scenario. But this is not just a north of a 3-1 for me that the Sixers can come out and win the first half. So I'm going to jump on that right away as we speak.
Not where I thought we were going to begin, but that is interesting. Obviously, again, I think most people, and it's a fine line. I want to be clear. Like the angle, I'd say the stereotypical angle is give me a team that has something to play for against the team that has nothing going on. I want to target those teams, but within that there is variance, and within that there are personnel. Now you mentioned, I think the point to bring up, the Sixers roster is pretty deep, and they've got some talented guys that they can deploy 30 plus minutes tonight and not worry about how ready they'll be for the playoffs. So I get it. I think when we see some of these teams roll out their B squad, it's a little different, and it's such a drop off. The Nuggets come to mind. They have been absolutely horrendous, kind of waiting for the playoffs here. And we've seen the results with Murray and Jokic and Porter and Aaron Gordon out of the lineup in some of these games.
Look, I think, there's something to that when we focus on a small part of the regular season. This does not apply a month and a half ago, right? But it does apply now when teams are full on bench. Like Cleveland last night, the initial thought process was they were going to sit everybody and Orlando was going to start everybody, but they were just dead. They were defeated. They lost. They were eliminated. It's human nature. But then they sit everybody. What reason would Orlando's bench have to play outside of Cleveland's bench, where it's like, dude, we may not see the floor for the next stretch of playoff games, et cetera. So I think we're in a small little spot right now in the NBA where you can take advantage of that. All right. So I just jumped in. Like I told you, it's plus 285 was the 290, pardon me, on FanDuel was the highest number I found outside of BetMGM. So if I lose my $25, I lose my $25. If, like, I think the Sixers have a legit chance of winning this, I've now beaten the market by a full 20 points thanks to this tool. Look, not everything works on a long shot. I get it. It's plus 310, Ben, but that's a pretty decent gap that the tool has found us.
It's all about maximizing your profit when you win and minimizing your losses when you lose, because you're going to lose this bet the majority of the time. You want to know that when you do get lucky, because you need to get lucky here. There's no doubt they're not the better team. That's why you're getting over 3-1 when you get lucky. You need to make sure it's enough. And you've done that by utilizing the shopping aspect. I want to bring it back to what I always like to do. And again, when you use your 7-day free trial, the link is below. You use the tool however you want. How do I use it? I sort by ROI. I go right to the top and I say, okay, why is this the best bet? Let's see. And right now, James Wiseman rebounds is the best bet that I see. Over 7.5 on FanDuel. The reason it's moved to 8.5 everywhere else, there's only one 7.5 left, and you're not paying crazy juice compared to the other sites. You're minus 122 on 7.5. and you're around even money for 8.5. No House Advantage, PrizePicks, and Underdog have moved to 8 and 8.5. Wow. So for me, Wiseman is the type of guy right off the top I think we want to at least consider for this over, because he grades out really well on FanDuel.
Yeah, this is a 7-point line right now. Why? Like, what is Indiana doing in the grand scheme of things on Friday, April 7th, when they have been totally eliminated. I feel like if you have this same thing with San Antonio and Portland last night, it was a 3.5, 4-point line. You have to blind bet the dog because it's essentially a pick 'em. Like, to me, this is probably closer to a 2.5, 3-point line, like the equivalent of what a pick 'em would be. But what is Indiana doing tonight, Ben? Playing for what exactly?
No, both teams are an absolute dumpster fire. They have nothing to play for. And Wiseman is a guy, if you want to dig into the numbers, last couple games, he's pushed for 30 plus minutes, not 30 plus, but around 30, which is useful. It seems like he's the type of guy that in these last couple games should be out there a lot. And again, the market has already set his number, I think, at 8.5. It's pretty much consensus that this should be a toss up at 8.5, not at 7.5.
Yep.
I feel good with it. I know Bagley's a guy that at times has come up on this show, but I think that we look here, even with him back, that Wiseman has some room here to be valuable.
I love that play. And so does the market, which is fantastic. Let's go back to Luka real quick if we can. And Mike, if you just sort on Luka props, you'll see the points prop is smashing on underdog. And I know you're doing some underdog content. Like, underdog is definitely a spot where you can take full advantage of Luka because he's at 33.5. Look, a lot of people may not have underdog. A lot of people may not be playing underdog. Maybe a lot of people aren't on underdog as much as something like DraftKings, for example. So I bring up this example because for the most part, the general consensus between Caesars, BetMGM, and PointsBet is that Luka is 35.5 over. DraftKings is still hanging over 34.5. Now, granted, 33.5 is the prime number on underdog. I get that. But my question / lean would be, well, I can still play this. The ROI may not be as high as 9, but it's still going to be a plus EV bet for me to go over 34.5 on DraftKings. Is that an accurate statement?
So DraftKings is moved. I hate to breathe the bearer of bad news.
Damn it.
And this,
I moved, like Jerry. It moved.
I like George. I like to see that though. It gives me confidence that the tool in some ways is working properly, because right there, if you capture him at 34.5, you've kind of done your job, again, assuming that the juice is in the same ballpark. So you see it. And here with the short, you're all right. Like, let it adjust. And then if you want to come in on the under, you're getting some extra room. Now, obviously, everyone, and we saw this in Discord, and I get it. You know, the Mavs make personnel moves and everyone says, oh my God, Luka overs. Just keep in mind that the market is going to budget for that. They know. They're aware. So you still have to see if the value checks out or do they overextend. And right now, potentially at 35.5, they may have overextended.
They may have. And I understand. This is not an easy bet by any means. And I think you're right, where the market has moved against. So look, so you don't have to play it. And now it's adjusted. By the way, what happened with that Orlando game? Earlier today, and I can tell you exactly when it was, and this is just, hey, I mean, this is what we do. Today at 10:20 in the morning, thanks to the OddsShopper premium tool on our Discord, NBA Orlando plus 700 on BetMGM, 0.15 unit. Just a little, Ben. That's all, just a little bit. It's now dropped to what, 410? 450, pardon me. That's a significant drop right there. Now, again, are they going to win? Probably not.
You're finding the crazy ones.
Look. All right. You know me well enough that I couldn't lie and say, well, I'm reading the market like somebody, like none other. Like, I couldn't sell you on the fact that, like, I just woke up and have been able to read the market. I'm just following the fucking tool, man. That's it. Like, that's all I'm doing. I got him at 700. I put him out there. The majority of people on the Discord probably didn't even play it because they're like, this guy's an idiot. Although our plus 390 Cavs thing hit last night. Maybe they did. Maybe we moved the market as a result of that, Rasa.
Maybe. Probably. Yeah, self-fulfilling prophecy. No, again, it's all about capturing that value. So your ROI is what does it. Your X-win's going to be very low because you're not going to win it a lot. That's just a fact.
Not at all.
So,
right.
That's a fine addition to the card. It's just depending on what you're looking for. Do you see anything else? I mean, I'm just browsing again, right now
There was
there's
one. I'm
okay.
glad I'm glad you came back to that. Actually, two that I think were interesting. So where are you? And I'll hold back.
No,
Where
no,
are you?
I'm gonna pass it right back to you because the other ones at the top, I'm just gonna throw out some names. I'm not saying these are, all systems go. Dante DiVincenzo assists under three and a
Yep.
half grades out. Svi Mikhailuk for Charlotte under 4.5 assists. Again, not guys that are going to be at the top of your mind. Now the market is saying, hey, check this out, and that is important. Is there a big name? Are you on peripheral guys? What kind of stands out? Because to me, by far, Wiseman is interesting, and then there's a drop off.
Yeah. So I get it that this is so there are two, and one I don't think is going to make a lot of sense because Brooklyn still needs to win one time in order to clinch that 6 seed, and they're taking on an Orlando team. Now, granted, I told you I got Orlando at 700, et cetera, et cetera. I took them at 13.5 as well. That's different than the individual player prop. I was a little surprised to see under 27.5 for Mikal Bridges pop as much as it does. However, under 27.5 at FanDuel, and I don't know if that's still the case, was beating the market by a full point. So every other book outside of PointsBet had under 26.5. It's a strong play, Ben, and the market would tell you to play it. But I think I'm just going to pass on this because part of me thinks blowout. Part of me thinks Brooklyn can definitely handle Orlando, and Mikal may not be playing as much, but they have to get there first. And him and Dinwiddie are an easy target to say, yeah, they can get you 25. Now, maybe he gets 25 and they've blown the shit out of this team and he sits for the final, 13 minutes. But I feel like this is going to be way too close of a sweat for me. So it makes sense. It's a great bet. It's a plus EV bet, but it's an example of being led to water and not necessarily having to drink every time.
I mean, you have the options. Like, obviously, it grades out well. I certainly wouldn't go against it if you wanted to
No,
pass
I'm
and
not
say,
going against it. And
exactly.
Let me clarify. Yeah.
You never can lose by passing.
Right.
That's a fact. Like, that's the one advantage. There's only, to me, really one advantage that you have in sports betting over the books. And it's that you don't have to ever bet anything. It's not like you have to put it on the card. And if you're a DFS player, you can't omit Rory from the tournament. You have to do something with him. You can fade him. You can play him. In betting, you can pass. So I get it. And a lot of these ones that are kind of on the margins, I probably will pass. We know there's going to be breaking news between now and 7:00. That's a fact. A lot of crazy stuff is going to happen. Are there teams that you have your eye on? Are you focused more on the playoff teams? Are you focused on the nonsense teams? For me, ironically, we're at the point in the year, I think the teams that have been out of it for longer are more predictable than the teams that maybe just got knocked out.
I think, wait, as far as the teams that just got knocked out?
Like if a team has been playing and going for the playoffs and now something has changed recently, I think there's more unknowns than a team like, the Spurs, where it's like, okay, they haven't been relevant in 3 months. They're not going to change it up. Like, to me last night, Utah was a very interesting team because they have been fighting really hard for the playoffs, and now it's kind of come to an end. Dallas, in these last couple games, really tough to gauge what they're doing.
Orlando was exactly the team that I targeted because they were recently eliminated. And we talk about this in all sports, right? Where it's like an NFL team on the final day of the regular season is playing at 4:30 or 4:25, and they find out after a 1 p.m. result that they're eliminated. And it's like, oh, now they have to go out there and play a football game. They're human beings. Like this is definitely, now again, I don't know how to quantify that with data, et cetera, but I'm just saying it makes sense, I think, on the global stand. So yeah, going back to that, by the way, Mac, I checked up on Steph Curry. At the moment, we don't have anything plus EV for Steph that's beating the market. It doesn't mean that we don't have any good bets. It means that there's nothing that's plus EV that you can say definitively is a beatable bet across the board. But that could change. Let's
see Steph. Yeah, because I wanted to dig in there. I wanted to make sure he meant Steph, and I assume that he did. Yeah, nothing.
Steph. No, I don't see anything.
No, right now, if you were going to take a shot, your best bet is probably under 4.5 3-pointers. We do need a little better than the line right now, but something could open up. Yeah. I mean, keep an eye on it.
So I'm going to give you one here. We should build a little parlay, right?
Oh, we're definitely.
It looks like Rom is on a fucking tear right now, too.
So, he's the one guy who can help me.
I got to check the DFS lineup here. Look, Morikawa 29-1. We gave that. That was right from the OddsShopper premium tool.
Yes, it was.
And I ripped it right off and gave it to the world on the Discord. And look at Jason Day. Look at you. Do you have thoughts? There are two golfers we need thoughts on from Ben Rasa on. All right, today. The improbable is happening, and they're both tied for 10 right now, and we need thoughts from Rasa. But let's get back real quick because you mentioned as far as just like where the NBA is right now. By the way, it's 1-1, bottom of the fifth, and Hunter Green is still on the hill. All right, still on the hill. I just need 4 more Ks. So, or 3 Ks and a win. So Toronto is a team. Toronto, to me, Ben, is the most desperate team on the board tonight.
Okay.
Like they're in. But they're not locked in right at that 10 spot, which is the most, well, maybe they are. You've got Toronto, right? You've got Toronto. There are 2 games left. I don't know who owns the tiebreaker there. But you've got Toronto 2 games above Chicago. Chicago is probably not going to win out, right? Because they've locked themselves into this 10 spot. But Toronto can also move up. They have to catch Atlanta, right? With 1 game separating the 2 with 2 to go. Except we know Atlanta's taking on the Sixers. This is crazy. This is volatile. Point being, Toronto is tight right now. Like Toronto is going out there to win basketball games. So for better or worse, those are the areas that I think I can target. And I don't think that Toronto goes out and smashes away. I'm just saying Toronto is desperate. So when I see Pascal Siakam under 35.5 PRA in a game at Boston, that's plus even money on DraftKings and minus everywhere else, that's where I'm intrigued. That's where I want to go to now and say, okay, this makes a lot of sense. Boston, not going to slam Toronto to the mat by any means, but I can see a game here in which Toronto is struggling. It's a lower scoring game in which Siakam is not a facilitator, 7 rebounds, something like that. And now you're relying on a heavy scoring game that probably isn't going to come. I actually really like this bet, and I'm debating if it's still up there at even money to use this as my community parlay leg.
Yeah, it's a good one. Again, it's not the number, it's the price. You're getting plus 100. You're laying upwards of minus 130 at other shops. So I get it. And I agree. He's going to be out there. This is going to be a competitive game. He's going to be active. It's just that price. Like your break even is 50% on the dot. And we're saying that you win this a majority of the time. Simple as that. So I get it. Of course, you weren't on the show. Me and Lofty, one of the better takes we've had this week was on Sengun from the Rockets.
Yeah, man.
The guy's been playing phenomenal. Now, we gotta balance 2 things. Right now, the market is saying that his unders are where the value is. Under 32.5 points, rebounds, assists for Alfred Sengun. That doesn't mean that there can't be actionable stuff on the over. I think you just have to be a little creative because right now the value from the price is on the under on his assists and under on points, rebounds, and assists. I still think that you could look to some type of ladder because those, even though they run counterintuitive, you're talking about locking in upside, not like median projection. That's a totally different ball game. So if you wanted to push the over there, I don't mind it, but just know that the foundation is more geared towards the under.
By the way, things have now updated. Luka is back up, and there are smash opportunities on FanDuel for Luka Doncic, starting with what we have, Ben, as a 14% XROI, 60% win chance, just going over 33.5 points tonight for Luka. In fact, if you look at the rest of that's moved now to 34.5. Unbelievable. It's just so fast how this shit moves that you really have to be on it. What about rebounds? Rebounds I had over 8.5 rebounds on FanDuel, minus 130. That was beating the market. Nope. Wait a second. Over 8.5 rebounds on FanDuel is beating the market exponentially, and that's at minus 128. That's a bet. Bet that.
Yeah, that's moved to 9.5 at, again, that's the same thing as Wiseman. It's moved to 9.5 at all the other books. They have moved the number a full number. Now you get a reduction in juice, but it's still not enough per what we're looking at. So I get it. And yeah, the points are going to be The points are going to be wild tonight with Luka, and I couldn't agree more. Taking Luka unders tonight is going to be a brutal sweat. It doesn't mean it can't get there,
Right.
but that is a tough sweat.
Yeah, you have to really like you'd have to go through something in your life where you're saying, okay, I need atonement, right? Like I
Yeah,
need to
maybe
show
I'll
it.
take it.
Well, what could I don't know. Do we get into that?
Shame, shame, shame. Yeah, I mean, listen, at any point, anyone's a bet on the under. I don't care how good they are. You know, it's gotta get to that level. And Luka, I think, is at critical mass. The usage is going to be through the roof. But
Not
again,
bad.
the books are not fully unanimous on what the number should be. Clearly, FanDuel had it too low, and we're going to hit the over. Now, the other books might have it too hot. Maybe there's a middle ground at 34.5 and they all land there and it cancels in terms of value. I don't know. That's what we have to keep an eye on.
So let's go to the parlay builder here. FanDuel, we can go there because we know that we're going to have an opportunity. I mean, my God, Luka assists now is just popping up. Do you see this?
What do I see this? What is Luka's assist on?
See, I'm seeing this on the parlay builder.
Okay.
I tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we do this? Mike, let's go to DraftKings. Okay, because there's going to be some opportunity here. FanDuel is bugging out right now.
I mean, again, a lot of this stuff is happening in real time.
Fluid. All right, so I let's do that, Mike. I take it back. Let's go to FanDuel. All right, let's go to the parlay builder. And
FanDuel, okay.
So we're on FanDuel right now. Let's take correct in Pennsylvania. Let's take everything out except McCollum over 3.5 rebounds and the one play that Ben already threw out, which is James Wiseman's rebounds. All right. Now we've got 2 legs right here, just under plus 200. I know, but we'll make that work, especially with a minus 152 leg in there. We need to do some more balancing out, if you will. But look, we start with James Wiseman. Ben already laid that out. McCollum is actually beating the market to a better tune. We have that at a 64% chance. He's going to be out there. New Orleans is in a position where they have to keep winning, and the Knicks are chill. So McCollum, just from a volume standpoint, should be able to grab that 4th rebound. It's a big ask at minus 152, but we're working this in a parlay. So we have those 2 legs so far, okay?
That's fine. And again, is it going to be the highest paying parlay in the world? Well, obviously not with this juice. But look at the X wins, 64%. That is why there's still value in this. And we're gonna go this way because that's what the books are giving us. I'm gonna put in Dante DiVincenzo under 3.5 at minus 140. Again, we're gonna have a 3-leg parlay, not even 4-1. But the beauty of it is in the expected win percentage. For a 3-leg parlay, they're saying we're going to win this upwards of 23% of the time. That is where the value comes in because of the break evens. Again, I can't stress it enough. You're laying the juice, but you're getting it back in X win.
Well, we're not done though, right?
No, we're not done. I would never think to say we could only go for a plus 400 with you. We're just getting started.
And we're not even technically there, and we're at plus 396. So
I round.
You're short. Look, I think we just have to throw in Jose Arena over 2.5 Ks right now.
This is a juicy parlay in terms of actual juice.
Ben, I'm not done. All right. Trust me. I've got one more. All right. To balance some stuff out here. But look, this is a 62% clip of it hitting the ROI over 2.5. I'm sure the market has pushed it up to 3.5 other places. So you're getting a really good deal. You're going up against I understand that it's Coors Field. We just saw a total of 1 at Coors Field yesterday. So just because a game is at Coors doesn't mean the ball automatically goes out. Arena is not a K guy. I understand that. That's why it's sitting at 2.5. But there are holes in that Washington Nationals lineup. I have no problem whatsoever adding Arena here. And you're right. Now we have 4 legs and we're plus 736. So we're ideally not even at that 2-1 for each leg. But I think we could add one more, don't you?
We can. Again, you can find what risk tolerance that you want to do. As you add more legs to a parlay, the parlay odds increase and the expected win decreases. That's a fact. Like, that's just how it works. So if you're looking for a higher chance of success, I would stop. If you're looking for a higher payout, I would keep going. Do you have a 5th one in mind?
Let's see. Quick Flash, this isn't even a poll because Mike has the community poll up there. And what are y'all doing? We only have like 30 votes on that community poll. All you need to do is click a damn button. So click the thumbs up button, subscribe, and then make sure you're voting on this community poll. All right, let's just do a quick flash poll. You don't need to push a button. Just type yes or no out there in the chat if you want. Should we add another leg to this parlay? All right, because I'm guessing that the community is full of greed, that the community is full of lust for more money. And you know what? I consider myself part of that community, Ben.
Okay.
So I'm willing
tell
to
us where we're going.
Well, I want to make sure that I'm not going against the community here. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Like, does the community, you just let us know. Yes, no, yes, no. See, Ariel right away. Ariel Russell. Yes. We want a fifth leg for Ariel. Does Ariel speak for the community? So far, Ariel speaks for the community, Ben. What say you? What would you really like? To leave it at 4?
No. Listen, you can find it. It's just a matter of where do we go? If there are positive ROI bets on the board, we can look for another one. It's probably going to be baseball.
Well, so here's the thing, and this is why I wanted to ask yes or no from the community and have them locked in before we move forward, is because you don't get to choose what leg, you just get to choose whether or not we're doing it. It looks like, and look, John, we love you. All right, John Monahan, you are a valued member of this OddsShopper community. You just happen to be on an island right now. So I don't want you to take this personal. I just think the majority of people are asking for a leg.
He's with me. Yeah, John knows.
Exactly.
He rides with me. I appreciate you, my man. Don't let him bully you.
Hey, wait a second. Just because you're on an island doesn't mean it's a bad. Look at Revis Island, right? Like that was a pretty good place to be. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there's those indigenous tribes. Shout out to the Sentinelese. They have no contact with anyone in the world. They're probably living their best life. I guarantee they're not watching the show. They're not hitting the like button, but they probably live a pretty cool life with no outside contact.
You know, there are areas in Hawaii where you can buy land and pay millions of dollars for these huge houses that specifically are not internet ready and don't carry the internet. Like it's being sold. That's part of the sell, Ben.
Some people are down for that.
Can you imagine you get to turn off the outside world and live in Hawaii?
Yeah, I wouldn't do that. That's not for me, but it works for some people.
Okay. First off, before the market moves, my suggestion would be to add Alex Cobb here as far as an under 5.5 Ks. Royals in town. I understand that they're not fantastic by any means, but I don't really trust Cobb in this position. Phil Eflin is also an interesting shot here. Or we just add the Capitals on the puck line for tomorrow, but then people need to wait for that thing to catch.
Put in Cobb because I got to play in the Rays game. I don't want my pitcher disturbed.
That's fine. Look at that. Beautiful. 5-leg parlay. Jose Urena over 2.5 Ks. Now, I need to go back to something you just said. Are you anti the concept of shutting off the outside world and living in some paradise? Or is it just you're anti doing that in Hawaii?
No, I'm anti the concept.
I feel like of all people, outside of like Luffy, who's just more public about his disdain for humanity, I feel like this is perfect. You get to unplug from the world and you're living on the beach. You're living on an island.
I literally hate the beach.
Okay, well, where would you? Where could I convince? Like, could you go Breaking Bad, like how Walter White was in that small cabin where the guy had to drop off the medicine to him like every 2 weeks? Could you live that life?
Probably not. I don't know. I'd have to go in like a hotel. Like I could do a secluded hotel. Like that might work. I'm not. Yeah, I'm not one for the I'm not going camping anything. It's not for me.
This is not camping, Ben. This is more of a removal. Like you couldn't move to the southwest coast of Portugal, drive a cab and fish and live off your poker DFS money.
Does that sound like the second part you're getting closer? Like, could I move to Portugal and maybe play poker? There was a time where that might have been realistic. Now I'd be completely dusted. But yeah, no, I'm not. I've never fished. I'm a New Yorker. I'm not a great driver. So you know how it is.
Hotel has Wi-Fi.
Yeah, hotel has Wi-Fi. I'm not going to Portugal.
Okay. By the way, that parlay is a beast. McCollum over 3.5 rebounds, Wiseman over 7.5 rebounds, DiVincenzo under 3.5 assists, Jose Arena over 2.5 total Ks, Alex Cobb under 5.5 Ks. Wow. Great job on that, man.
We'll see. Again, every incremental leg ups the reward and ups the risk. Yeah.
Do you have I'm sorry.
Nothing. I'm just reading the comments. No, I'm not a walker. I do drive, but I drive in the suburbs. I don't drive in New York City, that's for sure.
Yeah, so FK Coolers, I'm inclined. FK has been around the Discord, I think probably as long as me, if not longer, right? Like FK is a veteran.
Yeah, I talked to him once in a blue moon for sure. That's an understatement. I talk to him all the time for sure.
Exactly. So if FK Coolers, and you can jump in the Discord as well. We have a lot of fun, all that below. The Chalkboard app is free, so you can jump in that too. We have a bunch of different communities here for you. But if FK Coolers is putting, even in jest, if FK Coolers is putting out something like Ben just wants Michelin star meals, but nobody else inside the restaurant, like FK may be joking, but I think through osmosis of conversation with you, something is probably like, I could buy that. If that's a betting slip, I would bet that. I would bet that you would prefer your retirement being renting out a 5-star restaurant with a Michelin chef and just you and your wife to be, right? Just, aren't you engaged?
No.
Oh, I thought
nice
you were
job.
engaged.
She just gave me the look. Thanks a lot, bro.
What are you doing? You're living in
working
sin.
on it.
I'm
working on it.
I know you
blame
can
Rory.
If
I had a good DFS week, maybe.
Get it? You just won 20K last week.
Well, I got a lot less now. Rory took some of that.
Oh my God. I love it, man. I love it.
Mm-hmm.
How often does that come up? It came up a little bit.
A lot more frequently when you mention it on the show.
Okay. I got you, man. That's all I'm saying. All right. I got your back.
I got you.
Not your back. I got her back.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's fair too. Yeah, everyone just join the club.
We're all on Team A. That's right.
Join the club, people.
Pull the freaking trigger, Ben, will you? What are you waiting on?
I'm working on it.
All right. Before Ben just has internet issues.
Yeah, seriously. I'm going to go to that remote cabin. Sounds actually nice about now.
Hawaii. Okay. I want you to ask your current girlfriend, soon to be fiance, most likely wife, mother of your children, etc. Unless, of course, she doesn't want any of that. And then that's fine, man. You're all good there. But you're telling me that if you presented this opportunity to move and live in Hawaii without internet, like, she'd be against it?
Would you be against it? Yeah, she'd be against it. She gave me the nod.
Okay, then I won't push.
She'd be closer, but no, she's against it. We don't have time for that.
No, I won't push back. Okay, look, no hockey tonight. I know that.
It's a tough scene. No hockey.
We've got some baseball on the board, though. You know, Ronald Acuna and Matt Olson. I don't know if this is going to transfer over to anything with this Braves San Diego game, what have you, but the two big bats, couple of big guns here for Atlanta, Acuna and Olson, are both favored to go under, according to the market at least, by a pretty significant. Now, granted, under 1.5, you could look at the price, but those are the top two, at least, coming out right now across the board. Interesting. Yeah,
I mean, you see that a lot with some the thing that's interesting about total bases is it's a super fluctuated juice number. And what I mean by that is under 1.5 is kind of the line. And you move the juice accordingly based on player skill. Like, it's not something where you're going to have total bases for a guy at like 5. Obviously, that's impossible. You know, it's not an NBA stat. So I do find it interesting that, you know, some of the bigger names, you just mentioned some big time bats, you know, they're still around, you know, minus 120, minus 125, minus 130 to go under this. It could just be early season where the pitchers have the advantage. It could just be Bet Rivers, who is kind of advocating this, having stale numbers. So I get it. Obviously, for me, I tend to be in the strikeout markets. I found them a little more predictable early in the season. So I'm more on that wavelength than attacking these total bases.
And you read my mind, because there are two guys. I'm probably, I don't know. Flaherty's got a plus 120 number next to him. for St. Louis. This isn't, I mean, there are some Ks, and Milwaukee hasn't been fantastic. I get it, but that is an ask right there to get 6 Ks for Flaherty. I mean, that number is beating the market by a little bit. The other one, though, the one that I really like, and I'm totally with you, like total bases, at basically, especially like on PrizePicks, where you get the opportunity to go over a half total base. Those are thriving because you're essentially betting on a guy, ideally, who's getting 4 at-bats a game to simply get a hit. And it's just a single. Doesn't even be over, 1.5, as Ben mentioned, is the key number you see a lot on the books. But Jared Schuster tonight, over 3.5 Ks against this Padres team. You're laying the least amount, of juice on FanDuel. Padres, I mean, look, we expect a low-scoring game. That's what I'm seeing here. I might even take the under in this game with Schuster strikeouts over, Acuna and Olsen under total bases. That's telling a little bit of a story. I know that's not what the tool is designed to do, but it's hard to not figure something like that based on these 3 main guys kind of correlating.
Yeah, again, and I do think there's something to that. Now, we're not going to get into kind of same game parlays because that's a whole different situation because there's correlation involved and the odds are slashed. But I think you have some good starting points there. If I was going to take that bet, you read my mind, obviously, I would go with the strikeout prop on Schuster over 3.5 at -102. I think that's just more where I'm at than these total bases props. That, again, the ROIs grade out similar. So when the ROIs are similar, you're kind of just choosing. I mean, you can take them all, obviously, but you're choosing kind of your preference. And for me, I like the strikeout props a little more.
I was looking to see if there was anything else. What's been working for me has been totals across the board, NBA, NHL, and baseball. Our tool has, and it's simple as finding half points versus where the rest of the market is, right? Like going over 228.5 in that Pistons Pacers game when everybody else was catching 229, 229.5, what have you. Baseball, again, is another one to kind of look at because it seems like totals are moving. See, we have a little MMA up on here.
Well, we got big fights tomorrow.
Well, that's what I mean. So Michelle Waterson Gomez versus Luana Pinheiro, under 2.5 total rounds, is sitting at plus 280 on Bet Rivers. And apparently it's a pretty decent bet for us, although it doesn't have much of a shot of hitting. It's got a pretty good ROI. Now, you would know better than me or most here. Do we need Narco Cop on here as far as
we certainly could use him. We have, it's true. I will give a quick shout out. If you are looking for MMA content, we have one of the, I truly believe this, one of the sharpest minds in the industry on this very channel. Check out our MMA video with Mike, Narco Cop. Guy's fantastic. He knows these fighters inside and out. I've been tailing him, making a lot of money. He's leaning on the tool as well. So yeah, maybe inside a distance for that fight. There's some good fights, and I will definitely have some MMA action based on what we got grading out tomorrow.
All right. By the way, again, free week is here for you. Totals are up here. Totals for tomorrow's game. Like there's a total right now for the Phillies Reds game for tomorrow. That's up. That's beating the market elsewhere. So we invite you to check out the tool by all means. Let's get the community parlay, maybe a thought or two from on the Masters. If there's anything that you see that's even left here, but the community has spoken, friend. 53% are laying 1.5 tonight. Dodgers on the run line. I don't hate it.
I'm fine with that. I mean, it's the Dodgers.
No, I get it. And it's a very winnable game against the Dodgers. So that's where we begin at Arizona. 9-run total. I mean, Arizona's just south of 2-1. Okay. What do you have here? I'll take less time than you. So All
right. Well, where did we find that line? Just so I know what book I'm going to. DraftKings, beautiful. All right, let's go to DraftKings. We got a 640 baseball start, and this is taking some money. I will say, I put this in my video this morning. It's up to -130 now, but I'm fine with it even at that price. And it would be the Tampa Bay Rays minus a 1.5, taking their run line against the A's, who are, again, it's early in the season, but man, it already looks like a lost season. First off, we've got the Rays. It's hard to dive into stats because, again, we're 6 games into a baseball season, but they've been outstanding. They're undefeated. They're coming off a little road trip. They're back at home now, and they've got a good arm on the mound in Eflin. So I like what they're doing, and they're playing the A's, who have just been terrible already, who were at home and now have to hit the road. So I just look at the situation. I wanted exposure to the game. I didn't want to go parlay piece. So I said, okay, Rays minus a run and a half at minus 130. Get them at home. They're going to get to the A's bullpen. I think they keep it rolling tonight. I really have, really no concerns with them. And Waldichuk for the A's has just been a mediocre at best pitcher. Not just this year. Again, he threw some innings last year, not a huge sample size. But for those reasons, I'm going to say that the Rays kind of lay it on Oakland to start their series today.
Not bad, man. It's hard to disagree with that. We actually had, I think it was a K prop up that correlated with that too. So fantastic. Now I'm a little hesitant to remind Mike to swap out Lofty's space.
I knew you were going to say that.
Because now I might just give a 3-leg same game parlay as my own, right? Even though Lofty will be blamed for this. Leave it up there. All right, I'm going to be short and sweet here. I don't even know how the hell you pronounce this guy's name right. Myalik, right, from Charlotte. But I sound like Russo here.
Svi?
Myalik, right?
I mean, that's not how you pronounce it, but it's I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. I also am doing this just to troll Mike Lawrence and having him spell.
Just put in Svi.
Svizlatov. But look, this cat is out here for 40 freaking minutes, right? Unless he fouls out or gets hurt. Like, he's going to be out there a ton. They don't have anybody else on this team, and they're taking on Houston. And it's a battle of attrition right now of guys who probably will be two-way contracts for the most part next year or hanging on to a bench role. So absolutely, if I can go over his PRA at 24.5, I think he's live to hit this with 2 categories. So I'm going to go over 24.5 for our guy, and that's on DK too.
There we have it.
All right.
Well,
minus 120.
Okay. A little juicy, but got a still good shot at this.
But it's a volume play though, right, Ben? I mean, like, that guy's going to be out there for so much. He's just going to have his hands on the ball. He's a poor version of Gordon Hayward.
Yeah, I mean, again, the juice is just obviously related to the X win. The higher the juice, the higher probability of your break even. Got to find bets with, 50% isn't going to cut it on minus 120. 50% on plus 130, you're going car shopping long term. So it's just those small edges that make all the difference.
All right, so I have it confirmed here. Mike Lawrence, our producer, is going to give you $100 of his own money, and you, as a proxy, are going to put that on either Phil Mickelson or Joaquin Neiman to finish top 10 live right now. Where is Mike Lawrence's money going as Ben Raza's proxy?
Obviously, it's not going to Phil. Phil's not going
I mean, this is a softball. The only thing that would be even softer would be if Grillo was part of this.
I'd rather put my money on Rory to make the top 10 and hope that they change the rules for the tournament to let him back in than put it on Phil. All I'll say about the golf is this. Really be prepared to see a different skill set reign supreme the last 2 days. It doesn't mean everyone at the top's going to fall, but I'm telling you right now, if you don't have other attributes, what you need to survive in 50-degree weather when it's pouring is a little different than when there's no wind at this course. So just keep that in mind. The best players will adapt. You're going to see some monster collapses by some guys that only have kind of one speed in their bag.
I'm going to sound like a broken record, but as much as we all point to a guy like Shane Lowry, I really think Jason Day is in a good spot to weather, no pun intended, any type of storm too. So we'll see.
Could be.
All right. That was pretty good, man. We got a lot out of a back end of the NBA. No hockey for you to dive into.
No hockey. That's
Forced
unfortunate.
You to talk baseball.
Talk a little baseball. I don't mind
And
baseball.
we got you married, or at least engaged, right?
Yeah, that's probably the big news from the show. Lovely. No, it's been a great show. Again, it's Friday. If you're having, no matter what you're celebrating, obviously, Have a great Easter, Passover, nothing. Just wow, look at you.
Well, I'm saying get ready, get
No,
used to the site.
I understand. I got
I
you.
see Mike's got one too.
I read you. I was just saying, have a great weekend to the community. That's all.
Absolutely. We appreciate you big time. Thanks to Ben at Jazz Rest. That's that Shander show here. What are the odds Ben's engaged by Monday?
Less than before the show started, I'll tell you that much.
All right. We love you, Team Rasa back there. We'll see you guys. Have a great weekend.
Yeah, that feeling it was so mad risky to let him down.